Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI reaching you live from Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. Like I told you before we commence with the show, it's all about taking stock of the year 2025, and it seems like what happened towards the end of the year might just begin the discussion. Yes, security situation. When this administration was inaugurated, aside subsidy gone, they promised to take care of Nigerians in terms of providing adequate security. And of course, you all know the story too well. Things turn from bad to worse. If there's anything like worst, yeah, it got to that point that triggered the US for the very first time in Nigeria to carry out bombings. And the government said that they are aware of it. Though many people have divergent views and opinions about this particular. Some call it incursion, some said it's a welcome development, some said Nigerians should be the one in charge of securing Nigeria, and people have been asking so many questions. Anyway, that's what we're going to start out from on today's discussion segment, the last Sunday for the year, the last edition of TMI for the Sunday, of the year 2025. With me here in the studio, I have Honorable Derek Nwago, political analyst, political affairs commentator. Honorable Derek, thank you so much for making our time to join me this morning.
Thank you for having me. Happy New Year in advance to you viewers.
All right, and I'm still very close to him. He is one person done, Elvis Brown, political analyst, political affairs commentator, a right activist. Elvis, thank you so much for making our time to join me this morning.
Thank you very much, Wilson. Good morning, viewers, and Happy New Year in advance.
All right, join us virtually. He was a one-time local government boss, political analyst, a right activist, also one-time member of the Edo State Assembly. Join me to welcome Honorable Destiny Enabulele. Destiny, Happy New Year in advance.
Mr. Wilson, I salute you very lavishly, and I want to wish my brother happy compliment of the season and New Year in advance. Let me say.
Thank you so much, Destiny. Well, we expected the likes of Rosella to join us also virtually. When he's able to log on, definitely I will introduce him. I was also expecting a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator, Barrister Justin Urwe. He will come share his own views and opinion, because today we're taking stock of the year 2025. Let's dive into security matters. Honorable Derek, I mean, it's like Nigerians have had their own fair share of security situations. Some are saying insecurity, some call it that particular factor that almost brought Nigeria down on her knees. Some are saying that Nigeria is already on her knees because of the security situation. 2025 security situation. Take it up from there, Derek.
Well, the Nigerian nation saw a very heightened security challenge with regards to banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, fundamentalist jihadist movements attacking, Christians and moderate Muslims, up to armed robbery, just to name but a few. We saw a very increased intensity with regards to the hostility of all of these variables, plaguing the nation as a whole. And one would have expected that government would have been more proactive in dealing with all of these challenges. We actually seem to have been motivated from the, do I say incursion or intrusion of the American states interfering in our security situation through threats and what have you, before the government appeared to have increased this pace with regards to fighting insecurity. You will recall that Nigeria have a boundary, our boundary between Niger Republic is 1,500 kilometers. And we would have expected that the Nigerian state or nation or government would have been more proactive in dealing with this issue of foreign jihadists, people trooping into the nation. The best way to have curbed that menace was to do what countries like Saudi Arabia did. What did Saudi Arabia do? Saudi Arabia had a boundary, length of about 1,350 kilometers with Iraq. They fenced it. As soon as they fenced it, the issue of, fundamentalist activity ceased within that, nation. So proactive vision is very important with curbing challenges of security. You must not be reactionary all the time. I would have also expected that government would have, a long time ago, sponsored an executive bill towards implementing the state policing system, which is long overdue. But for some selfish reason by the political elite, in order to centralize power and influence within the federating states, the federal government over the years refused, to approve the creation of state policing. And I equally said some time ago on this forum that we have to even go further than creating state policing. We should also include in that executive bill for Nigeria to also operate private security, network or agencies where big men, VIPs can access security details without burdening the public police system with their own personal need for private security. Yes, firearm-bearing private security sectors can be created alongside with state policing so that they will work concomitantly with the state policing system, so long as they work under the state. So these are many more of the issues, that the Nigerian system of state or government needed to have done in order to checkmate the menace of insecurity, the broad spectrum, challenges of insecurity that plague this nation. Sure. And you also agree with me that in this year, 2025, it was very, very serious, very, very devastating on the Nigerian citizens. But I'm glad now that the government is waking up to its responsibility to the extent that America is now...
We'll come to that. We'll come to that point.
Okay, thank you.
And join us right now in the studio. We have introduced him in absentia. He's not a person, a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Barrister Justin Udwe. Barrister, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Good morning, listeners and viewers at home.
All right.
Prosperous New Year in advance.
All right.
And welcome to TMI.
Right. Now let's go to Elvis Brown. Security is like, Nigeria was almost brought down to her knees. Some are saying that we're already on our knees, if not for the bombardment or intervention of the U.S. The year 2025, in retrospect, talking about the security situation, architecture, what's your take?
Well, thank you very much, Wilson. My take is that we actually lost control of security situation in the country long ago. Since when the former president, the late Muhammadu Buhari, was in power, it appears as though the country's leadership had no idea what to do with the security situation. This present government, this year, our focus is this year, all these bad guys were running rampage everywhere. They were seizing local governments, going into communities, wiping them out. It was completely, unheard of. Nothing seemed to have been happening. And that's because the moment the government came into power, the focus was the next election. That was, I think, what mattered to the government. They took their focus away from security, from education, from all those other things, and focused on campaigning for the next election. And these guys, just were everywhere, kidnapping, killings, name it. Nobody was being held accountable. We saw, for instance, a particular bandit, in this case you call a terrorist, who killed a senior police officer, and then came for negotiation with the government and wore the uniform he took from the person he killed to that negotiation. Everything, the name, the rank, and everything were there. He wore them to negotiation table, and nobody was asking questions. We see these people sitting with these guys, with their rifles, with their, their RPGs, in the name of negotiation. So they were ridiculing the image of the country in the name of trying to want to have a conversation. There was no strategy, there was no plan, nothing at all. So it took America, it took Donald Trump, actually, not even America, it took Donald Trump to talk about it, to have our government, now giving it attention. It took Donald Trump to say, look, this thing is getting too much. Irrespective of the direction Donald Trump came from, he drew attention, the global attention, to what is happening in Nigeria. Then the government began to want to think now on what to do. So the year has been really terrible when you talk about security. But I'm glad that we are ending the year with a strategy. At least we now know that there's a possible intervention from America. And so with that possible intervention, we can now be rest assured that within a year or so, we would have been able to decimate these guys to a level that people can now travel, to a level that people can now go to the farm, to a level that market women can now decide to trade from interstate. So these are the things that keep the nation going. And so far, those things were almost gone. We're no longer able to farm. We're no longer able to travel. Now, those who are traveling, we have to call people to find out how the road works before you embark on a journey. And even when you're going, whatever it is, you see people parking, telling you stories of kidnapping along the way. So many things happening. It was as though we no longer have leaders in the country. So the year was horrible in terms of security. And I think that it all stopped. Like the president once said during the Jonathan administration, that the buck stopped at the table of the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. When Boko Haram was, disturbing the nation, especially the Northeast at the time, he said the buck stopped with the president. And now he's the president, it should stop with him also. So instead of, most time, calling people to say, oh, let's, tackle security, let's work together. No, it stops with you. Handle it, take care of it. And I think he is now waking up to his responsibility, because he knows that once America comes in to help you solve the problem, definitely there'll be concessions. All right, so one of those concessions might even be regime change. Who knows? And so because the man is so keen on returning, he will definitely want to do something about it this time. And I hope he does. I hope he does.
All right. Now let's get to hear from Destiny in Abulele. I believe that he has a lot to say about our security situation. Destiny, over now to you.
I go to a platform, yet my brothers there at the studio, most especially my in-law. You see, let me quickly say this. I have to, this morning, single out two particular incidents that happened. The Yawata massacre in June, and the killing of a general, Nigeria Army general. You see, we must call a spade a spade. My late grandmother of blessed memory once said, in my very rich Benin language, that Ewoma Ebona Waya. What that means is, which is very simple, that the imam, the babalawo, the pastors, the reverend fathers cannot go to their various place of worship when there are, rancor, when there are disturbance, when there are war in the community. Simply put, there's nothing meaningful in our atmosphere of rancor. So you cannot see why we are where we are this morning, because over time we have failed our people and we have failed humanity. I have a saying that any society that recompense defective deportment fabricate a moral peril that will erode that society. You agree with me? That's where we are today. Because the least of us are the ones presiding over very intelligent ones and our collective patrimony. And they don't know what to do with it. They are bereft of ideas with utmost humility and simplicity. I will say it because I have been there. One time, executive chairman of a council. I know the approach, the methodology I deployed in presiding over the local government. It's on record that before my advent, or perhaps my as a local government chairman of Yard Southwest, let me be very particular this morning, was raised of kidnapping. When I assumed office, barely a month or thereabout, when I assumed office, there was a kidnapping about few posts from the local government secretariat. You can go and do your findings, Mr. Wilson. And the sad story was that my secondary school mate, Gobazoa Grammar School, she was the one kidnapped. My secondary school mate. I immediately left there without any security. Before the DPO arrived, the secretariat, I was already at the council. And there, DPO told me that, Chairman, you don't need to do it like that. And immediately, I cut short. I closed from office that day. I went straight to the 4th Brigade. I met the commanding officer. Then I booked a series of meetings with all the security agencies, the TSS, the Zone 5, the police commissioner, the SCDC. I met with all of them. And to be very frank with you, they all visited my local government. And what follows was the army post at Igobasowa. For the 3 years that I spent as a local government council, there was incidents of kidnapping. It was reduced to the barest minimum. You can do your findings. I never use police escort. You can only do your findings. At times, I drove myself to office. And people do advise me that I said, I said, well, but I need to do it. I'm not running from anybody because I'm from the people. What am I trying to say? You see, we have missed it as a people. We have missed it because our greatest undoing, with utmost humility and simplicity, is by having, although I know that the issue of insecurity, he inherited it from me. But you and I know there have been series of revelations. I'm not the one that will be saying it this morning. That what we are currently facing as a people, the nosediving of our security, and the coming aboard of insecurity of every nook and cranny, and the letter breadth of this country, was the architect of this party that is in government. It was, I'm not the one saying it. They were alleged, permit me, that the number 2 man of this country at the time housed a very notorious terrorist in his guest house. And again, presently, a sitting governor alleged the former governor of using a terrorist, giving them money to cajole the people, to coerce the people, to force the people to vote for his party. I'm not the one saying it. If you go into your archives, you will know that what I'm saying, I'm only reiterating what has been said. You see, we have a problem. That's why I said that any society that recompenses a defective department fabricates a moral peril that will erode that society. And we have found ourselves at a very quagmire, at a crossroad. That's why I must give it to the US government, most especially to President Donald Trump. It's there in the Bible that our Lord Jesus Christ will come as a thief in the night. Indeed, Trump came at the will hour of the night, just as our Lord Jesus Christ, once said he will come at the night to save us. If Trump has not come at that hour, we would have experienced some series of bombing, left, right, center. I'm saying this for free. As a result of this kidnapping and what have you, terrorists and bandits in the northwest, our roads are no longer safe. So you can see what my grandmother said, that there is nothing meaningful in an atmosphere of rancor. She would say, a woman. Because I lived with her when my father died. Our first child, the only male, died. So I lived with her for close to about 9 years. So for me, she taught me so many things. The issue of morality and what have you. And let us look at it. All of us, including my very self, we are to be blamed in this whole, quagmire. Let me learn with this thought, sir. You see, our religious leaders, as we speak very just now, they have missed this track. They call themselves, it's not God that is calling them, with utmost humility, with no exemption. You can see what has bedeviled the religious bodies across board. They are now in bed with what is between the legs. They have missed, so there is a moral compass deficit in this country. Ordinarily, the religious body ought to be in the forefront. Confronting the state
I
of
will,
affairs.
I will come back to you, comrade. I
Thank you
will
very much.
definitely come back to you. You've made your point,
Thank you very much.
valid point. Well, you cannot say that all religious body that they want to call it God and God didn't call them. Some of
I
them are
said
still
including all of
called,
us.
or we are called, and still being called by God. Okay, let's get to hear from Saint Moses Iremosele. He is standing by also visually. Saint Moses, security situation in Nigeria in the year 2025. Your perception and views. Saint Moses, are you there?
Can you hear me?
If you can unmute yourself, we appreciate that, please.
Can you hear me? I'm on mute now. Can you hear me? Hello?
Please go ahead.
Okay, good. Good morning, Edo State. I wish to quickly comment on the situation of security in the country. In the year 2025, it was very tough. And thankfully, towards the end, there was a resolution to the security crisis, or beginning of a resolution with the bombardment of terrorists in Sokoto State, and in collaboration with the federal government. I wish to acknowledge the fact that the government has not been as astute as it should be, but since the comment by the President of the United States of America and the pressure from that end, Nigeria has woken up. A number of drastic steps have been taken, and that's thankful, because if the Nigeria refused to take action, nothing would have happened. And thank the president, our president, for taking that decision. And yes, beyond the security situation, there are other things that we're missing before. We are looking at the next election, like someone just said before now. And thank God now nobody's talking so much about the next election. They're talking about governance. And when we talk about governance, we would be able to defeat the insecurity crisis in the country. We have to overcome that. And the other thing that happened in the year, not only security problem, the other thing that happened in the year people don't talk about is the fact that in the first time for more than several decades, Nigeria is exporting petroleum products to the United States of America and many other countries. That is significant. That's something that happened. That's progress. Nigeria made some significant progress too. We battled challenges, but we made radical progress in this country, and I almost acknowledge that fact. So many things happened in 2025. Thank you.
Said Moses, we're taking it step by step, please. Okay, we want to focus on the security situation. We'll go to other part. All right now we are zooming in on security situation, and later we go into economy, go into fuel, petrol, you just name it, okay? So let's do on security situation right now. Thank you so much for your opinion. Now, let me come to Barrister Justin Ore. You've heard them. You're listening patiently and, of course, intently. Now, what do you feel about how we have fared so far in this regime? When we talk about security challenges.
This regime.
Yes. Talk about this year, please. This year,
Okay.
on the review.
Well, under 2025 under review, or security under review in the year 2025, it's been woeful, it's been pitiable, and it's shameful. So when a country like Nigeria, you are traveling from maybe Benin to Warri, Benin to Lagos, Benin to Abuja, you have to first and foremost do a fasting and praying section. God, not only you give me safety on the road, deliver me from the hand of kidnappers. In Jesus' name, you say amen. Hold your wife and your children, make that prayer. You know that
It's like you've done this several times.
Yes. So I won't deny it. That is shameful. We are not even going to. You see the infantry, the temerity, the brazenness with which these thugs, touts, miscreants, low lifers. Sorry, I used that word. My apology. Take over our space and take prominent men and women into the bush, far into the forest and begin to make unimaginable demands of unimaginable sum of money, demanding for hundreds of millions. For what? Simply because you left your house, maybe to do a transaction in a neighboring state, or to carry out one or two responsibility in a neighboring state. The next thing, you end up in the hands of these robbers, kidnappers, terrorists. The women are molested seriously, and the men are beaten, tortured. Your family have to cough out the money they never planned for. Sometimes the money they never had, or some of the amount they never heard of. They have to put it on. Not too far away from Benin here in Iowa, Delta State, somewhere around the Benin, Akure and Benin Auchi Road. You know, this is not supposed to be. We are focused, even, I think in Benin, no, not Benin, somewhere around Kano, there was an assistant commissioner of police that he was talking about, that was caught. Assistant commissioner of police. That's already a commissioner of police. The other one was brigadier general. That's an army general. So the security system was so compromised that the signal the army general was giving out was being infiltrated by bandits. That is how they were able to locate his location. And you know what follows thereafter? Until Donald Trump started talking, our president was on bed. When I say it was just like sleeping. Look at Benwick. The Yetewa, something like that, the massacre. Jesus. Look at Plateau. Horrible sight. And the president never visited that place. Even though he went to Benwick, he never visited Yetewa community. Till tomorrow, a president, commander-in-chief of a federal republic of Nigeria. Look at how Donald Trump is talking. Why would you not be proud if you're an American? Just tell me, why will you not? If your president is talking like that, why will you not be proud? Yes, this is my president. Tell me. And he gave out warning, caution, and he followed with action. And we saw the results. In short, by his statement alone, Nigeria was already quaking. And no, it's not Christian. Sorry, it's not Christian genocide. Muslims are also fine. It's not only Muslim. Ordinary persons that are whether Muslim or Christian, they are all fine. But what did you do? Why did you allow it to escalate to this point? Because it is on public domain that many of these terrorists were people that were being used for one reason or the other that fell out. Look at Taraba. This Taraba, where it doesn't have it doesn't have an airport, but we are aware that aircraft don't land there to take away the resources of the state. How? What is the country doing? What is the FGN doing? Until somebody far away, thousands of miles say no. Before you now started running these maybe changes on the security architect you have, bringing in some fine hand like Christopher Musa, and some results are being seen. Where were you all this while? Where have you been? What stops Nigeria from using the method our brother Mr. Godwin Obaseki used in Benin, the command and control center? What stops us from having our own surveillance, area surveillance? Obaseki had drones, some of them with night vision. Can't Nigerians get that? Can't we improve on that? Go to Enugu State. That's what the method they are. You enter Enugu State, they capture you. They capture you from your entrance, even extend to neighboring states. If a state can do that, it's not copied by another state, then what stops the president from taking a working mechanism, borrowing a working mechanism? America came all the way from the US. They delivered their citizens in this country. Are you aware? They located the place without even consulting our security. They located the people, they removed their person, they unlived the terrorists, and they carried away water something, I forgot the second name. They took him away. None of the people that came were hot, but all the terrorists were gunned down. How were they able to do that? You employ technology now, and we are just sitting a giant of Africa. What cannot happen in some other countries like Ghana, Benin, even South Africa is happening in your domain, and you can't do anything about it. Say you are commanded, you are just concerned about 2027. Do you even know if you get to 20? Are you God? Do you know if you get to 2027? The air you breathe, no matter how powerful you are, somebody owns it and gives it to you. So you have not finished with today. The Bible says, be satisfied with today's own trouble. Leave tomorrow for God. But you are talking of 2027. When we are in 2025, you've not finished this. 2026 is there, you've not even talked about it. They are talking about 2027. And lives are being lost. It doesn't concern, provided it's not your problem.
All right, so
you have routine of security men going around with you.
All right. So you agree that for the year 2025, security situation was poor
in the state and in the country as
a country,
whole.
okay, fine.
It's poor, it's woeful.
All right. Well, want to go for a break. When we return, we'll dive a little into the interference of America. Some call it interference. Others are saying no, it's not interference. It's like strengthening our security architecture. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go away.
TMI. Every opinion counts.
Remember, like we talked about before we went on that break, it's all about taking stock of the year 2025 and majorly speaking, security challenges was at its worst. Some are saying it's a worst so far since the inception of Nigeria. So even comparing it to the Civil War, saying number of casualties, like very close to it, that some persons are like trying to measure the pains, the agony suffered by Nigerians occasioned by insecurity. Now, let me come to you, Derek. Since you're on security, before diving into at least some gains, I believe that we had some gains this year. But do you think with the interference, or will I say with the, I'm looking for a phrase to really qualify this one now, or will they help rendered by the US? Do you think that things will change? Because some are saying this is an interference. Yeah, no thanks to Gumi. What I'm saying is help from the US. Do you think things will change?
On the short run, it will be quite helpful what they've just done, because you look at it from a strategic angle. They dropped bomb in Sokoto. Sokoto is the seat of power, or the motivating, seat of power for fundamentalists. Is seen as the seat of power of the fundamentalist folks, being that Sokoto is more like the Mecca of Islam in Nigeria. America can be very strategic sometimes, and for them to have dropped that bomb, America also know how to bluff a lot. Then they would have gained the attention of the most influential Muslim, quote unquote, in Nigeria, who is the Sultan of Sokoto. He would now come into this issue to start to mediate with a view to ensuring that all of this hostility against Christians, moderate Muslims, and what have you, will come to an end. I would say if America wanted to be very tactical, they would have seriously bombarded Sambisa Forest.
Yes.
But instead, they focused on in Sokoto. I think they said one of their training camps that is in Sokoto, they bombarded that place. So it's a strategic move with a view to ensuring that the most influential Muslim individuals will come into the picture to try to douse the tension. And they said that if this hostility continues, then there will be more bombardment. But if you ask me, I would say it's a short-term gain.
Why would you say so?
But in the long run, if this hostility continues, the real ISIS fundamentalists at the global scale might now show more interest in the situation plaguing Nigeria. They might want to, establish real ISIS here. So it is better that this temporary gain that the government have achieved with the influence of the American state should be leveraged upon. Yes, what's wrong if now the government tries to use the carrot and stick approach? On the one, they'll be attacking them like no man's business. That's the terrorists and fundamentalists. Then on the other hand, they'll tell influential leaders of the Muslim faith to see how they can also engage these fundamentalists with a view to disarming them. You know, because there's a saying in Benin, let me also imitate Honorable Destiny in Abulele, that Okwemo said, war is not beautiful. So whatever proper thing that is necessary to forestall any future occurrence of this kind of we against them should be, you know, assessed. Any way that we can use strategy without warfare to address the issue that we face should be also be, you know, addressed. We can take another route that does not involve hostility, while we are also exploring that area of hostility to yanking all of those terrorist leaders off the face of the earth. While we are doing that, we should also see how they can be engaged, because this is the most productive time to engage these people, to see how they can repatriate them back to their country. Because many of these people are from Niger, you know, and Mali and Chad. So we'll see how we can, you know, take them back to their country, while we are also working on digital IDing Nigerians through the digital platform. It's very possible. While we also strengthen our national, you know, identity management commission with a view to ensuring that everybody that comes into Nigeria, that are dwelling in Nigeria, are legally here. Remember I said earlier that nothing should stop Nigeria from also fencing our boundary with Niger Republic, because Pakistan did it. They saw results. They fenced their border with
India.
Not India. This country that fought America for a very long time. Afghanistan. Then Saudi Arabia also fenced their border with Iraq. And they saw results. So what stops Nigeria from fencing our 1,500 kilometer border with Niger Republic, so that our border will no longer be free for all these people who are waging jihadist war against our citizens?
All right, I'll come back to you, Honorable Derek. Well, Barrister, you heard him. But Sheikh Gumi said this attack is counterproductive. And what Derek says, in the short run, we may get it, but in the long run, it may just be all war in the particular zone, talking about the northern zone, and ISIS may take it personal.
Well, what do you expect from Sheikh Gumi? I'm surprised that he's still being allowed to express such ignoble views. Yes, was it not Sheikh Gumi that was returned from Saudi Arabia that he cannot come to Saudi Arabia to do the lesser Hajj or one of the Hajjis? It was because of issues related to security or terrorism in Nigeria. So that's why I said, oh God, you see, you can't be a leader of a country like Nigeria. Your responsibility is being discharged by external leaders or president, and yet you turn a blind eye, or you turn your face to the other side. That is it. Is it United Dubai or something like United? I think it's United Arab Emirates. Yeah. They gave a list of terrorists or terrorist sponsors or sympathizers in Nigeria. What have the Nigerian government done about it? Is it like this country that they kidnap school girls? Just very recently, one in Niger State, I think one somewhere around Abuja. The IG said that they brought them out, they now released them. Where are those that did those kidnapping? Kidnapping is capital offense. So the gains from what America did, it has both long-term gains and short-term gains. One, it has sent signals that it is no more party as it used to be. And America added a caveat. Gentlemen, if you continue with this, let me use the word wahala, then we are ready to match you force for force. And who wants to dare America? Who wants to dare America? Tell me, in Nigeria. Tell me, who wants to dare America? America of all country. A blessed country, a country where yes is yes and no is no. They tell you as it is. Shegun is just saying all those things so that I don't want to say, he's just saying it so that I have something to say, to gain some headlines. There is serious gains in it, and it's already happening, and long-term gain is also there. And our security architects are working, are coming up.
Okay.
Are coming up. Even the president cannot deny it.
Elvis?
Listen, on the basis of religion, our legal system is not balanced. Remember, Kabir Sokoto was the guy that bombed Catholic Church in Madala during the Jonathan administration. After bombing that Catholic Church, he ran to Meduguri. Now the DSS were looking for him everywhere. By the time they found him, he was in government house. You know who was the governor at the time? Our current vice president. Now, when Chibok girls were kidnapped, Jonathan made an attempt to arrest the principal of the school and interrogate him to get to know how this could happen. How can that number of students be moved out of that community? Do you know what happened? He was made a commissioner, the principal of the school. To shield him from the presidency, they made him a commissioner. Go and do your research and see. So in Nigeria, what we are experiencing, without intervention, nothing will happen. Because the system is corrupt to the point where nothing can be allowed to happen. When Obama wanted to invade Sambisa Forest, the plan was to gas the guys there and move out those girls. But by the time they did their air surveillance, these guys were wearing masks. Information had reached them that, look, they're going to gas you. That is what you're getting. So if we must defeat this terror, there has to be some sort of intervention. Ask anybody, what plan does this government have? Before they came into power, what strategy did they put on the table? There was none. In terms of security, there was none. So there is no plan. There's no strategy. So what you're going to have is to have other countries keep coming in to help until we get it right. Now let me tell you, I recently Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel made a broadcast concerning Nigeria also. Yes. And honestly, I welcome him to come in and help. Otherwise, you will find bombs being dropped on empty land. Early this morning, I read in news that the bomb the American launched didn't hit any target. That the terrorists got an information ahead of time before the bombs arrived and were evacuated. And so these guys in Sokoto State are busy granting interview to BBC, to CNN, that the bombs were launched on empty ground. And the reason they are saying that is because there is a possibility that these guys were aware. So you are fighting a terror that has insiders in the government. And so if you do that and you say, okay, maybe what they need to do is to now move back and let us deal with it, we're dealing with nothing. This move that Trump has made must not be something that you leave for a long time before you come in again. Follow in with another one and another one until you completely decimate it. We're talking about our borders. Mr. White has said a lot about our borders, but look at it. Nigeria has the most porous borders on the African continent. These guys we're talking about, they have national identification. The moment they come in, they are made to have national IDs. Our NIN, see, our data system is useless. Anybody can walk into any place and claim any local government, claim any state, and have your NIN given to you. Nobody's going to ask a question. Nobody's going to trace you to your family lineage. Nothing of that nature is happening. When Trump came into office, you know the first thing he did is to secure the border. Under Biden, millions were pouring into America. And crimes were on the rise in all the cities across America. So when he came in, he first of all secured the border. After securing the border, they are still building the wall as we speak. High up walls. Still. Now, after securing the border, he went back into the city and started rooting out those who came in without due processes. Those who are constituting nuisance. Those who are committing crimes. And so he started rooting them out. Pulling them to different countries. If you say, oh, don't deport them here, he takes them to another country. As far as it's concerned, it's America first. Americans must enjoy the dividends of their democracy.
Like clean up America.
Clean up America for Americans. And so if you want to go into America, you must have to fulfill the conditions that are laid down before you. So you fill these forms and then you abide by the rules. If you violate the rules, you are gone.
And
so because it's a privilege, we don't have such here.
All right.
We don't have such here. Let me, before I go, sir, on our roads, you have police checking papers, checking our pockets, checking phones. You don't even have immigrations on the road with guns, looking into vehicles, checking vehicles, immigration officers. You have customs on the road. But when you go to the border, they are as porous as anything. And why do you think they are on the roads? Because the roads are lucrative. If they stay on the road, they can build houses. Their salary will not have been able to help them build. If they stay on the road, they can buy cars that they probably wouldn't have been able to buy with their salaries. And so everybody wants to go to the road. I was driving on the road recently in Benin City. A police officer stopped me. And I stopped. The moment he stopped me and he walked close to me, his phone rang. And then he picked the call, it was his boss. And the boss kept saying, you guys are keeping me waiting. He said, yes sir, you'll see it soon. After that, you know what he told me? He said, that's my boss. We need to send money for fuel. And when we tell you people to give us money, it's as if we are thieves and all that. I started laughing. There is a boss that will remove you from the road if you are not delivering. The system is so bad. So how do you get the security right? If you have, it's only recently that they removed soldiers from our roads. They are still there, but not as active as it were. You have soldiers on the road. That's unheard of.
All right.
That's unheard of.
All right.
Just to add,
Hold on. You cannot break this one, please. Destiny, well, will the assistance, or let's say interference or positive contribution of America, do you feel that our security architecture will rise up to expectation this time?
Yeah, Mr. Wilson, you know, when I wanted to land with my earlier comments with the issue of, religious leaders, I was yanked. Let me say this. You must call a spade is never a garden fork. If you go back to history, I'm a history student. The Martin Luther King of Germany, if you go back to history, you'll be able to understand, perhaps appreciate the roles of religious leaders in an evolving society like ours. Again, if you go back to United States of America, the role of Martin Luther King Jr., if you study him, you will understand the role he played as a reverend in the evolving that later led to the freedom and emancipation of the blacks in the United States of America. But if you try to equate it with our own religious leaders here, they have beclouded their sense of cognitive religious reasoning with, trivia, material, and their quest to personalize whatever resources they are getting from their ministry, thereby abandoning the day-to-day running of this country because the political leaders and the religious leaders, they are in the same web in terms of permitting corruption and what have you. You see, the intervention of the United States of America, as put it by my in-law, Mr. White, you see, yes, there's long-term, there's short-term. It will be short-lived if we Nigerians, criticize the America of their intervention. You say, Wilson, you are a married man, you are a father. If your wife decide to cry to your neighbor to come and assist you in training your kids, then you as a father has failed. Not only failed as a father, you are equally failed as a husband. And you are equally failed as a community man. That is the gospel truth. So for us as a people, the bulk of this whole problem is the Nigerian people that are the receiving end. When I say the Nigerian people, permit me to this morning, not the ruling class, but the average Nigerian people, the electorate, the masses. Because it is biting our pockets. Ordinarily, for me, I don't like flying. Anytime I want to go to Abuja, I have to fly. And for me, I love driving. I love exploring. I'll stop by at Lokoja, blah, 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 to look at and buy things. So I love it right from my school days. I love traveling. It's part of my first hobby. So I love traveling, not by air, by land. Because of this insecurity in our roads, it is eating deep in our pockets. And the signal is sent to our homes. It's not palatable. That is the gospel truth. So we are not looking. See, it is broader than what we are saying. So for me, I want to appeal to Nigerians this morning that we must embrace America and Israel, Netanyahu, to come and assist us in fighting this menace. I must be very frank. But again, the optics among the political elites is quite disheartening. It is frustrating. And with utmost humility, it is very regrettable. Why am I saying all this? If you go back to Buhari administration, the former minister, one of the ministers, President Patani, if I'm not mistaken, was a known, fundamentalist. We know fundamentalist. Even as a lecturer, just go. He said no. And we equally have same here. They have infiltrated all the ranks and file of our day-to-day running of the Nigerian system. It is an organized.
It's like we're having some technical challenge there. I believe that when we establish contact with Destiny, he is going to anchor. Well, let's get to hear from St. Moses. We'll dive into the gains. Come on. At least don't think we have gains. St. Moses, interference or the support of the U.S., do you think it will go a long way to rid Nigeria of this particular challenge?
And I think the interference by the United States of America.
St. Moses, are you there?
He's speaking.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you right now. Continue, please.
I think the interference by the United States of America has some gain. First of all, let us be very clear. The interference was in collaboration with the Nigerian government, without which it would not have happened. And we thank the United States of America for taking those bold steps. Without those bold steps, the government may not have been able to take those decisions because they are very sensitive because of our peculiar nature, our religious sentiment, our ethnic sentiment would have affected the decisions taken by the government. But right now, now that the government has declared the bandits terrorists, now that the government has declared criminality of such nature terrorism, then the maximum force will be used on them. Then it's a good thing if it's sustained and if it's rapid. If it's done one isolated incident and we have to wait for a long time, these guys may metastasize. These guys may go to other weak centers and spot dark spot and wreak havoc and create more mayhem. And this may lead to wider scale conflict. And that this may derail our economy. So I think if it's not well handled by the government, then there's a problem. I imagine that as the joint forces formed Sokoto, our Nigerian government would have used the opportunity to enter Sambisa. While they are coming out, to flush them, decimate them until they are so weak. Not negotiate with them. We don't negotiate with terrorists. We negotiate with nations. And that's the mistake of our approach, our strategy over the years. We've been negotiating with terrorists. We've been negotiating with kidnappers. We're negotiating with people who want to kill us, who are sworn to kill you. No, it doesn't work. You negotiate with America. You negotiate with Ghana. You negotiate with a nation to nation, not a nation to terrorists. Terrorists are to be killed. Simple. I think going forward, this may be the approach. And I foresee a brighter future, but I just hope that the government will deploy a strategy, remove men that they suspect are corrupted, and from the theater of power and theater of decision making in the security, then we will have solutions. I have so much hope in this country. I have so much faith that this is the time to flush them out. Thank you.
St. Moses, we will take another break. When we return, we'll dive into the upstream, midstream, downstream sector. For the very first time in a long time, we will not encounter queues in a filling station in the U-Tide. Can one consider that as one of the major gains for the year 2025? We'll be right back after this break.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We're not diving into what is happening in the upstream, midstream, downstream sector. Nigerians, they've been speaking about not seeing queues that used to be that signal, so to speak, towards the end of the year or during the U-time to get to see queues incrementing fuel pump price. But this time around, do you feel that the situation has improved? They call him Mr. White right now. So, Derek, what can you say about this?
With regards to our upstream sector, which is the sector responsible for pumping the crude oil from underground, streaming it upward, that's why it's called upstream sector. We have seen a domestic focus with regards to the Dangote refinery. The Nigeria government, through the NNPC, PLC, is giving Dangote up to 25% of our, not up to 25%, almost 400,000 barrels of crude oil daily to refine in its refinery, which is a laudable move by the federal government, because it now shows that the government understands that with local production comes more stability of our own currency. You know, I'm also glad that the government of the federation waded into the, accusation of folks like Ahmed Farouk, and he was made to resign from his regulatory position, because we understand that for a nation to grow, a local regulatory authority must focus on homogeneity, must focus on local content. But he was more like an advocate for foreign imports, which is, not very patriotic. So then with regards to our midstream and downstream sector, which is also the process of refining and transportation and marketing, we also saw that the competition, between the imported petroleum products and the locally produced refined product was also came to play, in the sense that the Dangote refinery reduced the petroleum price, to the extent that an arm of petrol station, I don't want to mention it because I know it costs a lot of money, to project such things, sells as low as 739 naira per liter. I have bought for that amount, and thereby forcing other independent marketers to also reduce their price. So the forces of demand and supply is coming to play. We are producing locally, and the price have dropped for the locally produced petroleum products, and therefore the imported product will either reduce their price or they will be fizzled out of the market. And what are the economic indices for such move? First of all, the nation have seen a gross domestic product increase of 3.9%, almost 4%. Our GDP have increased by almost 4%. Then our inflation that used to be like 30% have also reduced to around 14.45%, which is close to 60% reduction in our inflation. So it's laudable. Then Nigeria have also been removed from the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force, a global regulatory body that looks into the transparency of government with regards to finance and economics. All right. So Nigeria have been removed from the grey list, indicating that there is more transparency in our economic system. But has this actually translated into HDI, improved HDI, that is Human Development Index of the local
we'll come to that
man
we'll come to that
streets.
We'll come to that and then Derek will come to that. Well, Barrister, you heard him. Is that right now, as it stands, that we're doing well in that sector, upstream, midstream, downstream sector? After all, Nigeria for the very first time is beginning to export petrol from our own local refinery vis-a-vis the Dangote refinery.
Okay, well, when I'm faced with questions like this, I laugh. First, it's not the first time Nigeria is not having queue during the Yuletide. And it's not also the first time Nigerians are exporting resources, petroleum resources outside Nigeria. These are
from a private refinery.
Hold on now. We are looking at it historically.
Okay.
You understand? So these are things that have happened when Nigeria was Nigeria. When our refineries were working, we do export. It was also the source of earnings for us, you know. But when things fell apart, our refineries could no more meet the needs of Nigerians, let alone sell out. We began to export to fill in the gaps until prices soared. Then government came in with a subsidy to mitigate the prices, because you were buying with dollars and selling in naira, and dollars were going over the roof. So that's how subsidy came about, to mitigate the prices. So in a nutshell, before now, or before Nigeria economic woes began in the late 90s to 2000, those stuff, then we used to no queue. You go to filling station, you buy your kerosene, you buy your fuel, you move out. You go to various any time of the day.
So you're not saying that we are on the path of economic rejuvenation?
That was before now. So, yeah. But coming in of Dangote has helped to bring back that lost glory, even though our refineries of Nigeria refineries, none is working apart from Dangote. So if Dangote alone can do this, then it means we should also allow other refineries, like other modular refineries and others that are not as gigantic as that of Dangote, to operate, to make let them have this leverage to come in, give them resources. When I mean resources, I mean them crude. Some of them we have here in Benin or here in Edo State. These are some of the challenges they have, so that they can be more into the market, which will help to bring down the price, and at the end of the day, make it more affordable, and we can also take out. You understand what I'm saying? But if we are just looking at it one way, well, it's fine for the now. But remember, when your whole nation is dependent on one person, the effect of monopoly. And don't also remember that for Dangote to have this edge, he fought a lot of war. Nupen came in blazing and told him they will call for a strike. How he managed, they said no, they won't lift petrol from his refinery. He has to get trucks about 2,000.
But you've not answered the question yet.
The question is,
are we on the road path to economic rejuvenation?
For the now, it seems we are on the path.
Okay,
yes,
thank you. All right. Well, Elvis,
for the Dangote refinery, or let's look at the sectors you mentioned. I want to appreciate President Goodluck Jonathan for allowing Dangote refinery to come to light, so that we'll not be giving the glory to the Tinubu administration as though they performed the miracle. Now, this thing has been on since Jonathan administration. So I say I appreciate him for that, because he saw the need to let Dangote build a refinery. And it started. Now, the APC government disrupted that process. And then they are back to where would have been long ago, as far back as 2015, 2016.
Disrupted or encouraged?
They disrupted the process. They disrupted the process.
Don't forget the Kabila Muhammadu Buhari. Anyway, please continue. Just like how they disrupted the process.
This is the point here. Jonathan had these things planned out. The man had a plan. And the plan was working. He talked about it. And then they came in and told us, look, I was a general. Even though we were general as far back as 1983. And that you're going to deal with corruption, the insecurity and all that. That was on the basis that process was disrupted. And then let's come back to where we are today. There's a lot of deception in this refining and the oil prices, the removal of subsidy. A lot of deception there. That if we want to talk about that, we may not live here today. But I will talk little about that, so I can understand what is happening. All right, subsidy has been removed. Beautiful. All right. Now, how, as the monies that are being used to service the subsidy, how have those monies been used now to better the lives of Nigeria? We'll get to that, because you don't want us to talk about that. I want to take it one after the other. You remove subsidy, and now you sit down with this refining petroleum, which is beautiful, but at whose expense is all the subsidy removal? What strategies were on ground before the removal? What did you do to cushion the effect of the removal? There was nothing, absolutely nothing. It was removed and it was gone, and we appreciate it. But do you know what is happening? So many people cannot afford to travel right now. I like the fact that he said that this is not the first time that we're seeing no queues at the fuel station. It happened during Jonathan. Queues were gone. Queues were completely gone. And then they came back under Buhari, and now they are going again. So it's a good thing. All right. Now, we are actually on that path that we were long time ago. So what we're seeing is not a miracle. It's something that was happening before. And I'm glad we are going back to it. So it's like taking us back to where we were some 10, 11 years ago. And I think we were on the right track then, and we are beginning to get on the right track now, as far as this fuel issue is concerned. So the removal of subsidy is beautiful, but it's at our expense. Vehicles are parked, vehicles are sold, least people traveling. Look at the unit time. You know how it used to be during the Christmas season. Do you see that happening right now? How many people were able to travel? Because the cost.
But the pump price of fuel, is it not cheaper now?
Cheaper at what?
Compared to the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but how much did he meet it?
How much did he meet?
How much did Tinubu meet the fuel?
Meet fuel.
All right.
Okay, now before I go, we were told that when you remove subsidy,
Calm down. Are we fighting? I don't understand. Are we fighting?
We were told in this same country at the time that when you remove subsidy, the price of fuel should not have exceeded 400 naira, and we got it at 1,000 plus.
All right.
And now we are coming back to where it ought to be.
All right, thank you. Let's you keep adding. Hold on, no, it's like a chain reaction.
It's an addition.
Hold on. You wait for your time.
In 2012,
you wait for your time, barrister. You wait for your time. Let's get to the destiny.
Protested against
destiny. Let's get to hear from destiny and destiny now. Over to you, the upstream sector, downstream sector, midstream sector. Are we doing well?
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I think the speakers before me, they've laid the foundations. But I think we are not telling ourselves that's a fact. We must first of all identify Dangote as an individual, refinery. What is the monthly needed allocation for crude? We should be able to identify that. Then we now say, okay, is Nigeria giving him the required needed allocation crude? You can't be living very close to the river bank and be washing your hand with spit. There's an error. Are you aware that as we speak, Dangote still import crude from the United States? And United States happens to be one of the biggest buyer of crude in Nigeria. My brother, who is following who? I don't know if you are getting my arithmetic, or I school in the village. What we know is arithmetic. Not you guys at school in the urban mathematics, the algebra and whatever. But the point is this: good and fine. We must. I align totally with the later part of the discussion. That indeed, that Goodluck Ebele Jonathan set the tone to where we are today. But they came, they bamboozled us, they deceived us When I say us, including my humble self, then I was a very active civil society participant. We occupied Nigeria as a result of subsidy removal. And some of us were being induced left, right, center with utmost humility. And we all fought. And that policy was dropped as a result of public outcry. Do you know that with that act, and now they are coming to implement what they fought against? My brother, they have taken us back, and they have taken Nigerians as a fool, and they are taking us as for a ride. For me, I have my reservations. For me, I have not seen any progress, because there are many modular refineries.
Destiny, you have to hold on. I want to take a break. We'll return from this break. Continue with your line of thought, okay? We want to go for a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI. We're taking a look at some of the major events that shapes the year 2025. We talked about security situation. Right now, we're talking about the upstream, midstream, downstream sector. As it stands right now, no queues on site, and the price of pump price of petrol rather is declining. So we're taking a look at it. If truly Nigeria is on the pathway of economic recovery. Destiny, we were with you before we went on that break. So please,
Mr.
conclude
Wilson,
your thoughts.
Try to let us know the nitty-gritty relate to this the issue of area, refinery. Let's try to look at it this way. Dangote, from what I read some time ago, in terms of percentage, they've been able to source locally for crude. NNPC have been able to give them about 53%, if I'm not mistaken, of the crude needed for the refinery. And they are sourcing internationally about 47% internationally, when we are the ones producing the crude. And you know the sad thing, that this international sourcing, majorly they are sourcing it from the United States of America, who happens to be one of the biggest buyer in this country. Dangote, United States of America happens to be one of our biggest buyer, and Dangote is sourcing the 47% from the United States. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around to understand the arithmetics or the optics around this whole thing. If, for instance, Mr. Wilson, your kids at home, they are hungry, you are not doing Father Christmas, you are not giving food or perhaps selling food to neighbors' children, and when your kids are hungry, I don't know how to situate that. I do not understand that. To be very sincere, I am not for Dangote. I am not for the Nigerian government and for the Nigerian masses, because let's look at it this way. We have many modular refineries. Many. As we speak very just now, we have about 2 in Edo State that are not without crude. Because they start of crude, they are unable to kickstart. So the issue is this, that we are buying for over 600, over 700, they will not be singing hallelujah. Who bewitched us? Who bewitched us? Today is Sunday. I think we should need to go for deliverance and cast out those that bewitched us. If it's the cause of the ancestor, we need to see the ancestor's face for forgiveness. Because we produce, and still we are saying our Dangote, the biggest producer of our day-to-day running, is sourcing for local sourcing, international sourcing, up to about 47%. The sad thing, Those that is meeting to source, they are getting it from us. Why can't we solve our arithmetic here internally?
Thank
And
you.
give that 100% of
Thank you so
whatever
much.
he needs. You see, the problem is this.
You've
Let me
made a
now with this
vital
one, sir.
point, a very, very strong point. Well, let's get to hear from St. Moses and Mosela on, I was like, having this pathway, walking this path towards economic recovery, vis-a-vis the pump price is not reducing. Take it up from there.
Thank you, Wilson. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, Wilson.
We can hear you.
Hello, Mr. Wilson. Good.
Please continue.
Let me quickly, now I know I'm on the air, let me quickly disabuse the minds of Nigerians from the misinformation that may have gone ahead. I was very disappointed that the last two speakers were very political in their assessment of the situation on ground. Let us start with the facts versus the fiction. First, the first fact is that Nigeria had not, he said Nigeria, if we all agree that Nigeria has sustained refined products for the last 20 years. That other first speaker was right that this is not the first time, but in the last 20 years, precisely from 2004 till date, 2024, Nigeria did not export a single crude of oil. But from 2004 to date, Nigeria has been exporting fuel. And now, if you say you don't want to give the credit to the government in place because the policy started with Jonathan, and you, at the same time, the same person is giving the claim of insecurity to the president of today, which started from Jonathan, that's the height of hypocrisy. Number two, the export between the 1990s and the early 2000s, the interregnum, between 1990 and 2000 was very brief and insignificant by the NNPC. Let us be very clear about that. Number three, from the mid-2000s to the year 2024, for 24 years, Nigeria was fully 100% import dependent for PMS. We imported every single fuel we used for 24 years in the country until Tinubu came in 2024. That's a fact. Then number four, what changed under Tinubu? Somebody may argue, what is it that Tinubu did differently? Yes, he did two major things. It was not accidental. No meaningful progress comes by accident. It is a clever economic calculation done by Tinubu. Listen to me, and I have the floor. Excuse me. I have the floor. Listen to me, Destiny. I have the floor, Destiny. I have the floor. Listen to me, Destiny. I have the floor. Be mature enough to listen to me. I listen to you speak your nonsense.
Destiny, he has the floor. Destiny, please don't interfere. Don't interject. He has the floor right now. So please, Moses, continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, what changed under Tinubu? It is the scale and continuity. The scale with which we now export fuel, the fuel is now available, is sustainable. That's one that changed. And two things that he did. One, he solved the foreign exchange issues and he removed subsidy. Without those two elements, no possibility. It's a mathematical certainty that we will never have been able to provide fuel or even make fuel for export. Dangote is a private individual. They are private investors who have built capacity. But Tinubu government allowed the policy to work. Bottom line, fuel exports have been restored after decades. It's a deliberate policy and that cannot be wished away by accident. It is hypocritical to blame Tinubu for insecurity which he inherited from the previous administration, but turn around to remove him from the glory for sustained fuel availability, affordability and export, which is a deliberate policy enabled. They claim that Jonathan tried to subsidy and he protested. He went to protest. Jonathan backed up. But Nigerians protested this ground. That's leadership. Thank you very much. Let's have the floor. I have spoken. Thank you.
Calm down. It's not between you and Destiny. But sorry for the interjection. Destiny, remember, when you had the floor, he allowed you to talk. He allowed you to speak. So please, whenever they are talking, do not interject. He made a point. You cannot ascribe failure and security to Mr. President. I don't want to ascribe the glory of success to this same administration. Derek, over to you.
I would have.
No doubt. The fact speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Just like lawyers will say, res ipia locuto. So, whatever, I'm not a lawyer. So, having said that, you will see that several moves were made by Tinubu to entrench local content in terms of the midstream and downstream sector, you know, in our nation. Last year, he tried to implement the 15% tariff on imported petroleum products.
Yes.
Just to give a steam to the local production. Is that not a beautiful move? It was the same Ahmed Farouk that you know, stalled that process. This year again, he tried to also implement it, and some of the international actors were against it, and he also sheathed the sword with regards to that. This is a calculated move to ensuring that our local production thrives. And if you look at the countries that are doing well today, all over the world, judging from the 1930 till date, is it America where the New Deal was what was used to sustain their economy and thereby grow it? Is it what the Chinese government is doing, involving itself in every productive sector with a view to expanding the market share of the Chinese industrialists at the global scale, you know? So government must be involved with a view to ensuring that local production thrives. So this is what the, you know, Tinubu government have been doing. It would have used negative policies against folks like Dangote so that local foreign import will continue to thrive. But it did not, even though it's not a direct actor in the Dangote, you know, refinery. So we must give it to him. There's some people are complaining about monopoly. You must survive first before you talk about monopoly. And he's not the only person that have been given a license to refine petroleum products. But he was able to accelerate the process of his industry with regards to, you know, refining petroleum products. So kudos to him. We must support him to the extent that the Nigeria currency is being stabilized, to the extent that it is affecting the Nigeria economy. But the trickling effect, you know, to the grassroots is where the government need to focus on with regards to micro, petty, and small-scale businesses, so that they can receive grants for business growth. Yes, why not? All over the world, government are doing it. Government, go and look at history. The small businesses must be encouraged to try. But if you allow me, I want to add this little.
Please do. We're pressed for time right now.
You will recall that barrister some time ago was saying the previous administration of Obaseki, you know, did a lot with regards to insecurity. But I beg to disagree with him, because it was during the Obaseki administration that we witnessed a lot of court killings, you know, a lot of armed robbery, and even this kidnapping thrived big time.
Gentlemen.
And currently, issue of court killing have been abated. You will agree with me. And there are a lot of moves being made by the current administration to ensuring that life and property is being secure. There's nightlife now, because I can go out at night now.
Thank you.
To enjoy myself.
Thank you.
But in the past, we couldn't do that.
Thank you. You know what, today, I know you have so much to say because we're pressed for time. We'll dwell more on the federal. Peradventure, perhaps next week, we'll dive into the state. All right? Because of pressure, we have to stop. So please, Destiny, stop hacking in Mosele's speech pattern. I know that this will erupted, or let's say bring forth another round of argument, but I have to put my foot down. So this is where we come to the end of today's edition.
Sadly, I couldn't
look at
respond
time.
Mr. Wilson.
Time.
This is
okay. Just
fundamental.
Okay,
least
1
1
minute. Please, okay. 1 minute.
1 minute.
Just 1 minute. Go ahead.
You see, when people talk, I try to
1 minute. Use it judiciously.
Hold on now. I interject. I didn't interject.
1 minute.
Please, Obaseki did well and excellently well in respect of security, economy, and development and infrastructure in Edo State. I stand here to say anytime, any day.
All right.
And one of the things he did in security, he brought in command and control center. Where is that command and control center? Somebody that brought over 6 drones.
Was it functional?
Stop interjecting. Stop interjecting.
Is it to put CCTV in Ring Road?
Can I have my 1 minute now?
Please, okay, your 1 minute now.
Barrister, let me have my 1 minute.
Please, I've not exhausted mine now.
Okay, I thought you had.
I have not. So the command and control center named after Solomon Arase, one-time IG of Edo State, and with over 6 drones with night vision being used.
No, it's not true.
All right, 1 minute. Your time is up, please. Your 1 minute starts now.
My 1 minute is very simple.
Yes.
Erosele compared APC government with APC government. He was comparing Tinubu's government with Buhari's government, which is commendable. All right. No, now the point is that how many people were kidnapped under Jonathan? How many communities were wiped out under Jonathan? So these are the questions he has refused. So if you are now saying that I was exonerating Jonathan, the point is very simple. The insecurity we had at was Boko Haram, and it was basically in the northeast. What part of the country is not experiencing insecurity today?
1 minute up.
So those are the issues that he has refused to answer.
For fairness sake,
like in Edo State, we have
for fairness sake, Destiny, you have 1 minute.
Why this man not agree?
Hold on, Destiny, you have 1 minute, please. It's on. 1 minute.
Mr. Wilson, let me quickly say this. You see, let's ask. We were reading from the textbook, unlike Moses. What we have said, what we put forward, which it was very simple. Who introduced terrorists or banditry into our political lexicon? Is it not APC? If in the number 2 man, the vice president, the then notorious was found in his guest house. And as we speak,
allegations. These are spurious allegations. You just don't have proof of it.
No, go.
Please.
Your lawsuit.
Please. I want to be sued.
Or sponsoring terrorists.
Of course.
Or sponsoring terrorists to coerce the electorate to vote for his party APC.
All right, your 1 minute is up. I'm not going to tolerate spurious allegations occasioned by emotion. So Moses, you have your 1 minute. Are you there, Moses?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
1 minute.
Good. We want to thank our government for continuing. It has been long coming. It takes for a while, but thank God they are booking up. And when you wake up, that's your daybreak. For those who said about the XYZ, yes, at least they are successful that the government, every government makes successful. But the one that said there is no command and control center is just dreaming, because there is a very active command and control center in the government house. Thank you, government house.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. I know we want to go on and on, but we were pressed for time. Next week, God willing, we'll come into Edo State. Yes, but we're going to take stock of 2025 and 2026. Let's see this year, how has Edo State fared? We just couldn't do it today. We focused more on federal. But for next week, God keeping us alive, we'll delve into Edo State. Happy New Year in advance. See you guys around next year. God willing. Bye for now.